Hello everyone, Squeakerwood HCG just coming to you today. It's Monday afternoon. Dr. Oz is on and he's talking about MCT burning fat. You know, I did not know that MCT and coconut oil are the same thing. I didn't know that. I was thinking about getting some and I thought, well, maybe not. I just want to try it again. Maybe I did too much, but he said to incorporate 1 to 2 tablespoons a day in your diet. So, you know, I don't know about the HCG and the coconut oil. I mean, I know everybody does really well on it except for me, but anyway, so last night, we went to the Outback and had steak, and you know, whew, my alarm's going off. Hold on. Anyway, you know how you ask them not to cook your stuff in butter and to do the wood grill instead of putting it on the grill with the butter and the asparagus, blah, blah, blah. Well, my asparagus was really good, but it was kind of shiny, and the steak was really good, but I think that they put all the stuff on it. And I'm not saying that's what it is because, you know, after all, I'm just trying to remember that my body's going to do what my body's going to do. It's going to release whenever it needs to. It holds on when it needs to. I measured today. I only, over my entire body, I only lost 1 inch off of my hips, and that's it. So I'm not going to be discouraged about that. And today I had a 0.4 gain, so I'm at 17 even on day number 26. So, you know, I just have to look at it and say, you know, every diet I've ever done in the past, I've never been able to release 17 pounds in a month. So, you know, one day at a time as we keep reminding ourselves. And I'm still not having, I have not had Grassinis. I have some. I was just looking at it, I was showing my daughter last night. I haven't had the Grassinis, and I do not have fruit. So it's usually just a vegetable and a protein that I have. So every once in a while the strawberries. So anyway, that's where I am as far as my stats are concerned. I'm fixing to remember every time I do this and I say fixing, I think, oh my gosh, the Texas word comes out. I'm about to go, I'm going to look for some CLA. I've been hearing really good things about it. So I might try a little bit of that and incorporate that into all my herbs and stuff that I'm taking. So today I thought, what will I share? So I thought I would go off of where I kind of left off yesterday about my getting divorced and leaving my children. And so whenever I left them, I moved about 60 miles away. I filed for a divorce. I'm sure that, man, I look tired. But I'm sure that my daughters did not know or understand because they lived their whole life with the big Christmases, the going to church, being homeschooled, all of that. Nobody ever knew that I was so very unhappy. Today, you know, hindsight, I probably could have worked through it. I asked my ex-husband at the time, can we go to marriage counseling? And he was not for that at all. Everything was fine. Everything was good. Leave it alone. So, you know, I mentioned about my grandmother, and my grandmother died. And a year later, my grandfather died. My aunt died. I had so many deaths in my family. I was living away from my family. I rented a house, and I started dating a guy, and both of my daughters really liked him, and I moved. I started working on a helicopter service, and I loved it. I did have hard times. I had a little bit of a thing, and I bought a house in another town. I moved to another town because I wanted to work on the helicopter. And so long story, I dated this guy. I felt like everything was going really well. And one night when I was at work, I was working with this girl. I was sitting next to her, and she started telling me about um, being with my boyfriend and how he was taking off work and he was coming and staying in her house at night, and how they had so much fun together. And I just sat there with my jaw just dropped. And I had to leave. I had to leave work. I mean, I called my boss and told her I was sick. I had to leave work. So I left work and I went home. At that time was further, but it was before I got my house. And so I drove about 75 miles to get back to where I lived. I walked in, asked him what was going on, told him what she told me, and he said, he loved me with everything that he was, and that, it wasn't about him being in love with her. It was about his mother, and, he was a little bit younger than me, and I had older kids, and blah, 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 blah. So I lived probably the next year, maybe, with him coming to my house and sending me birthday gifts and flowers and coming over. Please, please, please talk to me. I love you. I love you. I love you. And I'm here to tell you that was the hardest time going through all of that. Now, I have to say, when you go through all of the things, the child abuse, the sexual, mental, physical, emotional, all of it, and then you add something like this, which I have to say was my choice to leave my family. I was just in a terrible place, and I was alone. And come to find out, he had moved in with this girl, and they were planning on getting married. And he was still coming to my house. I was so stupid. So stupid. But have you ever been so in love with someone that you could smell them? And, it was just crazy. And I was in a place where probably just vulnerable. I don't know. It was my choice. So one night, he also worked on the helicopter opposite of me, and he knew that my youngest daughter was going to be coming to my house, and he told me that he would work for me, and I told him, no, it's okay, don't worry about it, you just go have fun with her, you have to take those little digs. And he's like, no, please, I'll work for you, because, he loved my daughters loved him, blah, blah, blah. Well, so my daughter came, and she went, she didn't spend the night. She was going to go back home, so she left. I went to bed. It was very depressing to be alone all the time. I was alone all the time. And, of course, the bulimia was bad, the binging, the purging, the eating disorder was just out of control. And at that time, I drank a little bit, so I would do stupid things. Being alone. Number one, a child of an alcoholic drug addict should not be drinking. So I thank God every day that I did not continue down that road. So I go to bed. My phone rings about 2:30 or so in the morning. My boss at the time asked me if she could have one of the directors, the chief pilot's telephone number. And I asked her what was going on. And she said, I just need to talk to him. And I could tell in her voice something was wrong. I said, what is going on? And she said, Peggy, really, I just need his phone number, and I said, I'm not going to give you his phone number till you tell me what's going on. And she said, well, they haven't heard from the crew in 20 minutes. And we did a 5-minute, 15-minute check. And they haven't heard from them in the last 20 minutes. And I gave her the phone number. She called back. Whenever we worked on the helicopter, at that time I always had the same partner, and I called him and told him something was wrong. Another one of the pilots called me and said that the helicopter had gone down. And I called my partner back. He came and got me. We went to the hospital that I worked at. And I'm not going to cry. And when we got in the room, there was so much turmoil, and I loved him with everything that I was, and I hated him at the same time with everything that I was, because he just did me so wrong, and I put up with it for so long, and it was like, God, just help me. Show me what to do. We sat in the room, and our medical director walked in, and everybody from the emergency room was in there, because, I mean, everybody was waiting, and they knew that they had flown into a storm, and everybody on the aircraft was killed except for the nurse that was flying. And I remember falling on the ground. And I called my mother and I said, he's gone. And I don't believe in my entire life I've ever gone through a depression like I did. My daughters, my mother, everybody in my life was very concerned that something would happen, because I stopped eating. That's pretty wild for a fat girl to stop eating. But I stopped eating, I stopped drinking, I'm talking about water. I did not want to kill myself, but I had no will to live. And I don't know if any of you have ever been there, but that is the hardest place I've ever been. We went for months going to memorial services and dedications and flyovers and all of that. And it was so hard to even get up, but we had to because it was part of our job. But other than that, I couldn't function. So I share that with you because I think about being in dark times of our life. I know that most people have never gone through that, but I was thinking about when Kathy was talking about her son being in the wreck. There's things in life that happen that we don't understand, but we have to keep going on. We have to hold our heads up knowing that there is a tomorrow, and what I have learned out of all of this is that we can be stronger than we were yesterday. That all of these things that are meant to destroy us with can be used for the glory of God. We have, in all of our circumstances and all of our lives, whether you live like Leave It to Beaver or the Addams Family, we all have something to share with other people. And I'm thankful today for the past that I have. I have so many losses. I lost him. I lost my grandmother. I lost my grandfather. There was just so many people at one time. But I just feel like today, sharing this with you, I'm just bringing you another little dark spot in my life to let you know that we all go through these things. And I'm asking for me, for you, to keep our heads held high. We're on this journey together with our releases. Again, when I think about releases, every time I say it, I think of it goes way beyond just the pounds. I have to remember every day that it's not just pounds and inches, but it's releasing these things that I hold in dark places in my heart. Anyway, I hope this wasn't too much of a drudgery for everyone. I know it's long, so I'm getting out of here now. Bye.